Hello and welcome to another episode of the Total Clarity Podcast. I'm Mike Varley.
I'm Jessie Hyatt, and today we are doing another special off-site intro to our on-site interview. This week we had an interview at Old Calvary Cemetery. We met with Mark Thomas, who has spent over a decade studying the graves at Old Calvary and going out and taking photos for people, old ancestors or people that are just interested in seeing a specific gravesite or finding out more about their relatives that are buried there.
That's right. We recorded this several weeks ago, and because of the election results, we did a special election episode, and so we were eagerly anticipating a time to fit this one in. And this is the week that we are doing it.
Yeah, so we're a couple weeks. This week we actually walked the second half of our Coast of Queens walk, which we can tell you about maybe in a separate episode. But we're focusing this week, we're backtracking 2 weeks to when we were walking the cemeteries of near Queens, is what we called it.
That's right. And we had a really great walk and talk with Mark. Learned a lot about Calvary Cemetery, and also had an opportunity to talk about some of the other cemeteries we visited during that week. So we hope you enjoy. Yeah, lead the way.
This way?
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
I actually used to make money coming out here.
What's that?
I actually used to make money coming out here.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? How
Yeah.
did that work?
I was a forensic genealogist,
Okay.
Oh, cool.
which is kind of a highfalutin term for cemetery photographer.
Okay,
Wow.
cool.
People from far away, other countries, usually would pay me $75 to come out here and get pictures of their ancestors and forebears' tombstones.
I think I saw that on your website.
Yeah, I've
that
talked
was a
about it.
service you had listed.
I've talked about it, but whoa. But it was a very satisfying pursuit because more times than not, there'd be some bit of information on the marker that was not anywhere else,
Yeah.
not on record. It was surprising how often that happened, and I'd get, people would write back. I'd send the pictures, and she'd write back to me and say, "Who is that woman on my grandfather's tombstone?"
Oh my
Oh,
God.
I'm
wow.
like, "Hey, I don't know."
Would you ever...
Don't kill the messenger.
Right. Did you ever then go in and do research on it, or?
Sometimes, yeah. I had the full Ancestry.com
Yeah.
subscription, and it's just interesting to dip into random people's lives
Yeah.
and maybe provide a little extra for the families that hired me to do this. But
Yeah.
It's funny though, because as satisfying as all that was, I consider myself kind of a genealogical sociopath, and that I just don't care about my family tree, or I don't necessarily think a third cousin is some special person because he's my third cousin.
Right, right.
And I get impatient with it, really, that when there's this assumption that family is all good,
Yeah.
because a lot of
Right.
my family are not good people.
Right. How long ago was that you were doing that?
I started doing that in like 03, I think.
03? Okay.
I first started coming out here in 02,
Yeah.
and then discovered that there was this little niche market of people who pay me to go out here and do that.
Yeah. We had, somebody told us about this during the pandemic. I had never heard of the profession previously. And to be honest, the person that told us about it, it was not a profession, it was purely a courtesy. Like there was a website that exists now where you can go on behalf of people that are just looking to get it done for free.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, the nature of this world now. It's like everything goes from a pay service to a gig service to, just free,
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next point, actually. Was part of the reason I quit doing it was that element of the internet culture finally caught up to me.
Right.
Yeah.
People just didn't expect to have to pay me.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. I mean, it takes like 3 hours to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not always a marker, which was another reason I started to lose patience.
Right.
Because people got really frustrated when there was no marker, because that's
Yeah.
what they're paying me to find.
Yeah, I think people tend to forget that there's a lot of labor that goes into a single photograph or a
Yeah.
single sentence that's written about what you found. You know, there's all this research and time, and for you to get out here and to search and to know, and also your knowledge of the area is worth something.
Yeah, that's worth something. I mean, I only charge $75.
That seems like a good deal
And
to
it
me.
seemed perfectly fair.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you caught that smell, but that's the fortune cookie factory.
That's what you were saying, yeah. So
That
you
is
were saying that basically every fortune cookie that you'd ever get is made right
Comes
over
from this
here,
place.
right?
Yeah, they have a monopoly. And they just crank out millions and millions of them.
I wonder if they make the little tagline also, or if they just make the cookie themselves.
No, they do
the whole thing?
yeah.
Tiny
The
typewriters.
messages, yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Nice piece of trivia, right?
It's
Yeah.
cool to know that they come from right there, yeah.
Right.
So what's the depth and breadth of your knowledge with respect to this specific cemetery? Calvary is where we're at.
Well, it's hard to say. I know where the 9/11 section is,
Uh-huh.
and most of my knowledge was very specific, I guess, as a result of the cemetery photography thing
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, wow. I wonder, is that a construction site or is that?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Or a destruction site.
Yeah.
This is the first named section.
Oh, Pope John Paul
Oh, wow.
II section.
That's fairly recent.
Huh.
Yeah?
But until then, everything had just been numbers.
Yeah.
Let's go this way.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go.
This section has a lot of, all the way back, has a conspicuous number of sepulchral portraits,
Oh, okay.
which are the
Oh,
there's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
the photos of the dead, and some of them are pretty interesting. It's that style of photography. It's just mostly from the early 20th century.
Yeah.
Where nobody smiles,
Right.
and there's a lot of theories about why. The theory used to be it was because the exposure took so long, and
Right.
people couldn't stand there smiling. But there's been other analysis of it that says it's not that simple.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that maybe it was just a cultural thing, or like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, they say that the smiling in photographs was a Kodak development,
oh, interesting.
and that that's kind of the corporate move that actually changed the culture
Yeah.
of picture takings. Like,
Yeah.
people didn't used to smile for pictures.
I do think that there's something about smiling for photos. You know, we were at Houdini's grave the other day, and this great guy, Joe, came to meet up with us, and he's a magician, and he told us about Houdini and showed us the gravesite and talked about how it was built. But we took a picture afterwards, and I felt myself smile automatically, but then I thought, and I looked at the pictures later, I thought, you know, it's okay to smile. I'm happy right now, but I'm also at a gravesite, and I was just thinking more about it. Like, I know I've taken photos in moments where I don't feel happy,
Right.
but then it's this fake, presentation to the world that we're all okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So maybe it was back in the day they were like, well, just be regular. You don't have to be projecting some sort of happiness.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's how I feel. But
I've noticed, I've seen some of those photos for gravestones that are over 100 years old, and the images still hold up. I wondered what they're made of, or how they're able to maintain for such a long period of time.
yeah, I forget what the details of that is. It is a pretty refined process, though.
Yeah.
Making them durable. There is a bit of a renaissance in these things now, and the new models are made of, I think, some kind of metal.
Like a tin type or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And they're much brighter than the old ones ever could
Right.
have been.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, we've been noticing also what I can only guess is the laser engraved images of folks.
Oh, yeah. Those
The
are
more contemporary
cool.
ones.
Yeah, those are cool.
I even saw one that yesterday where it was like a dual-headed tombstone, so I guess presumably for a husband and wife or something, but the husband had deceased and I guess the wife hadn't, so it was just taped over
Oh, wow.
until presumably that person passes away.
Oh, wow.
It's very
But
strange.
it was already, there's a Cosgrove.
Yeah.
There's a what?
Oh, sorry.
Cosgrove,
it's,
that's
Mike's step family.
my stepfather's
is
side of
Cosgrove.
the family.
Just this morning we started pointing out names that we know.
Yeah.
It's hard not to once you start.
Have you ever seen your own name?
Oh, which one?
Your own name.
Oh, my own name? Well, actually, the other day, I saw Hyatt. My last name's Hyatt, but it was spelled the normal way. My family spells it Highet.
Okay.
And I saw Hyatt. But that's the only Hyatt that I've seen, at least on this walk. I've definitely never seen my full name.
Right.
Have you?
No, I don't even think I've ever seen my last name.
Really?
Yeah, which is strange because it's a common last
Yeah,
name.
that's interesting.
I saw my last name, but it's cheating because I visited my father's grave, so it's not really. But
I wanted to point this out.
oh yeah.
This is where everybody gathered on 9/11 to watch the towers burn,
Oh, wow.
and they planted
Wow.
these trees, and they've really grown up.
Yeah.
Wow, it's wild, yeah, to think, I mean, we can see the...
But today you can't see through to it because the tree got in the way. But,
Yeah.
but this is
But,
where.
but yeah, and you can see where,
where
the towers would
were.
have been right there.
Yeah, well, they'd be behind that tree now,
Yeah.
but yeah, this was the clearest vantage point. This is where everybody that was here came
Yeah.
together.
Wow.
But
And
this
so
is,
you started coming here the year after.
yeah, I got whacked from corporate
Yeah.
after 9/11, and I got into a conversation with somebody who knew a lot about this stuff, and she was talking about how cemeteries used to be treated as dual purpose park and public space as a kind of
Right.
gathering space, but that they've been kind of ghettoized just by business interests and business practices.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that with Joe Devlin when we met with him at Houdini's grave. The idea of back then, 100 plus years ago, it was much more common for people to go picnicking and visit their relatives.
Yeah.
Houdini
Yeah.
himself apparently was extremely attached to his mother and used to bike down from Harlem to the graveyard, which was previously in Brooklyn, now in Queens, and used to sleep there next to his mother. And so it was much more of a thing. And I wonder if it was the fact that as public parks became more of a thing,
Yeah.
that the need for these declined. But we've been walking around this whole week, and it's really peaceful and enjoyable to be in these spaces.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I've been thinking to myself a number of times this week, I might start suggesting to friends, let's go meet at the graveyard instead of let's go meet at Prospect Park or whatever it is.
Yeah. I've brought plenty of friends out here, and it's always worked out. I think
Yeah.
we're seeing some of that behavior right here.
Yeah.
It's sitting by his deceased's
nice.
grave.
Yeah.
This is a new section they carved out.
Oh, yeah?
There was talk not long ago about how all the cemeteries were out of space, and there was not going to be any more in-ground burials. But they got clever, and they found this space
They figured it out.
and they started taking over space around the larger mausoleums, which were supposed to have burials in ground around them, but most of them didn't.
Okay.
So they got clever, and now there's basically no end in sight to availabilities.
Right.
But I wanted to see if I could spot the 9/11 graves, and I thought they were back here, but I didn't see them. I had a really wild thing happen when I was almost on this spot. I looked at my phone and got an email from somebody asking if I could find her dead son's burial site.
Yeah.
And I happened to be right here, and she gave me the location coordinate, and then I was looking right at it.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
It was very strange.
Wow.
Wow, that's
That's
spooky a little bit.
amazing.
So I sent her a photo right away, which kind of freaked her out.
I'm sure.
Did you communicate that to her?
Yeah, I told her this is really weird, but I happened to be standing right in front of it, and this is a
Wow.
huge yard.
How did she take that? Was she
Oh, it was
take
all
that
right.
as a sign, or was she?
She ordered some flowers from the florist across the street,
Yeah.
and I went and got them and placed them on
Wow.
the grave for her,
Oh.
and sent a picture of that too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
So you said that 9/11 kind of changed what your world was like. What were you doing previous?
I worked at corporate for a bunch of years at Time Warner.
Oh, okay.
I got into internet stuff early.
Yeah.
My first website was in 1993,
Oh, wow.
and my first job was in 1995, when honestly all you had to do was know how to open up a command prompt, and they'd be like,
Right.
"You're in."
Right, right.
But I learned a lot and did a lot, and it was all good.
Yeah.
So since then, I just do what I can. I'm a classical pianist,
Really?
and I still build websites on my own.
Oh, wow.
And most of it's a good amount of passive income,
Uh-huh.
which is always nice.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I did really well with it for a while, but I just got kind of burned out on it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking for my next big thing, but
Right now,
yeah, I'm
putting
sure
it out there.
something will come.
Yeah. It's definitely a weird time right now.
I know.
For half a dozen reasons.
Half a dozen million reasons.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, definitely having skills with computers and web stuff is always in high demand.
Yeah, it's always changing though.
That's true.
There's always something new to learn.
Yeah.
Just when you think you've got it figured out, some new protocol comes along. Let's see if, why don't we walk through
Yeah.
Sure.
Lead the way.
the grass. There's one of these portraits.
Wow.
It's somewhere around here of a dude wearing his scuba gear.
Oh, really?
Scuba gear.
Yeah, and he had the big helmet and all that stuff, and he looked proud of his scuba stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Cool.
I'd
But-
love to see
So
that.
I looked him up, and it turned out he had been killed in he was on a dive,
Oh, wow.
and he was doing some kind of city work with, I don't know, cables or something under the Hudson River, and he just got
Oh my
the thing
gosh.
strapped around him, and he was they couldn't recover him.
Oh,
Horrible
wow.
accident.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of stories like that out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you make it all the way to the Laurel Hill Boulevard side?
Of this cemetery,
Yeah.
like this section, we did. On Monday, we walked all the way down and then back up around.
Because
But we can walk down there again, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah. By all means.
that was where I saw maybe the saddest thing I've seen in this whole pandemic was the yard was closed to the public, but they were doing burials around the clock practically,
Right.
and they carved out a whole bunch of mass graves over on the far end, right off of Laurel Hill, at the fence on Laurel Hill Boulevard,
Right.
and that's where they dug. I lost count of how many graves. But since the families weren't allowed to come in and conduct a service,
Yeah.
I saw a family actually gathered on the other side of the fence, and they were just the saddest thing.
Oh.
They
Yeah.
got their service in anyway,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to
Oh,
heck
man.
with the rules.
Wow.
And also another beautiful thing was when the workers were doing all the burials, they were doing them as fast as they could, but they would still stop and
Oh,
pay
wow.
respects,
For every
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, for everyone.
Wow.
I saw all this from up on the Kosciuszko,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Yeah. It's. I think regardless of political affiliation, I don't really feel like the nation has had an opportunity to properly grieve what's going on. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get that chance in the next few months to really reflect on exactly what's happened. You know.
yeah. Just the idea of a vaccine sounds so impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
Seems so far off.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. We were playing a game when we were walking earlier this week, in between graveyards, when we were out on the street. Of if you had just come to today's date from the near past, like let's say like a year ago, how long would it take for you to figure out what exactly was going on? You know, like everybody's in masks, but not everybody's in masks, and they're
Right.
taking them off for some reason sometimes, and nobody seems freaked out if you're not in a mask, but I should probably be wearing a mask, right? Because everybody else is.
and you're afraid to ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
You
that's
don't
what I
wanna
said.
be
I was
the-
like, Jesse was like,
I
I'll
was
go
like,
right
what
into a
when you
deli.
just
I'm like,
ask
I don't know if I want to admit to anybody I don't know what's going on right now. That seems like not a great idea.
Nice. I had a mask-related thing yesterday. I met a woman that I've never seen in person before. We corresponded, and I didn't know what she looked like.
Yeah.
And we spent 2 hours together, and I still don't know what she looked like.
Oh, right. Yeah,
She
right.
had the mask, the
Yeah, yeah.
sunglasses, and a hat.
Oh my gosh.
She never took any of it off, and it felt weird to ask it.
Right.
Can I see what you look like?
Maybe she's the invisible lady. You know, she
Yeah,
takes them all
yeah.
off. She disappears.
Oh,
Right.
it would be good timing for the invisible people right now. Yeah, we were talking about that with a friend, how like I don't think I've had quite that experience, but
Yeah.
like definitely where is this the spook?
That's one of my
Oh
favorites.
wow.
A lot of the ghostly infants.
Wow.
I sometimes get like, maybe I overthink this sort of thing, but like the child had no choice in the decision to put their image on this stone. I bet a lot of people don't. And is it fair? Is it exploitative? Are we taking advantage of
Yeah.
these people? And this sort of, in many people's eyes, this makes them seem more special than somebody that doesn't have the photo.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, for the family, if that's, on one hand, if that's what they need to help their grieving process and to feel connected to the child, that seems to satisfy that. But at the same time, like, I guess it depends on what you believe happens after you die and how it is that you want your body and your soul to be treated.
Yeah. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
For the longest time, I assumed I'd end up here one way or other, but then I looked into Crenation, and that seems to make more sense. But I don't really like the way they do it here. They only started
really?
doing it recently at Calvary, and it's just very generic. Every niche looks the same. St. Michael's has these niches where people do all kinds of crazy stuff with them. There's like this one woman was a costume designer. So she has a couple of masks and stuff like that from,
wow.
from her Broadway work. And you can do all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
But I also considered burial at sea because it seemed like more of an equalizer.
Yeah.
But even that gets expensive. Isn't the problem? They turn it into a production.
Yeah.
And they bring everybody who ever knew out on the boat to watch the thing get dumped into the sea.
Right.
I wish I could just evaporate.
Have you ever heard of these? I forget what they're called, but there's some people that will do a burial in the woods, like with some sort of
Right.
mushroom shroud that helps the body to decompose naturally.
Oh, I
and then
think
you
I have heard of that.
basically just become part of the earth.
Yeah, I think they do that in Oregon.
Oregon sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's illegal in most of the country, but
right.
Not
Yeah.
Oregon.
not Oregon.
Most everything's legal there now.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're way ahead.
yeah, definitely. But-
Yeah, I after this week, I don't know. I don't think strongly about it. I guess I've always thought cremation kind of makes sense, but going through the various options of what a graveyard or cemetery looks like this week, it seems more compelling, to be able to like set up a spot where people could visit and
Yeah, and it's usually in an indoor space, so it's safe from the elements. In a comfortable place. One of the mausoleums over at St. Michael's looks like a shopping center.
Oh, really?
Really?
Got like waterfalls and fresh plants all over the place.
Oh wow.
And that's where I kind of wanted to end up. And I even went so far as to consult with one of the salespeople there.
What was that experience like? Were they hard selling you, or were they?
No, they're very nice, but
Yeah.
I discovered that there's a lot of flipping going on in that business.
Really?
Since people buy up like 20 niches and then
Okay.
sit on them for a few years and resell them at a markup.
Right.
And he
But
was,
is it like a secondhand market? Like they're not selling back to St. Michael's; they're selling to another person.
yeah,
Yeah. My.
and it's perfectly legal.
Yeah.
But,
Really, that's interesting. My mother. Obviously, we've been talking about graveyards a lot this week, but Turns out that we have a plot, an extra plot in St. John's Cemetery.
Okay.
And she said that she was going to sell it back to St. John's, but they said that you sell it back for the same amount you bought it for. And it was like a 40, 50-year-old purchase.
Oh, wow.
So she's just sitting on it. But the idea of reselling it hadn't.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
you'll find burial sites up for sale on eBay.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Maybe she should try that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. That's crazy.
Yeah, because like a Calvary plot is,
Yeah.
at least when I used to look into this thing, was pretty valuable.
Yeah.
Like I seem to remember like $25,000.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
But,
Well, I guess as you were saying, if there's not really a lot of space to expand,
right.
if people want to get in
And
here.
they want to be in this glamour cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll pay it. They'll pay the price.
Yeah.
Cemetery of the Stars.
That's the thing about Old Calvary. It doesn't really have a lot of notables, as they say. I never
Right.
like that term, but
Yeah.
'cause all lives are notable.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of famous people here.
That's funny. I would think it would be the other way, you know?
No,
Just like kind of, I don't know, old seems more distinguished or something, you know?
I think what's the one up in Woodlawn? Woodlawn has a lot of the big celebrities.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm not sure what that one's named.
Woodlawn.
Oh, just what? Oh, okay.
Woodlawn Cemetery.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
up
yeah.
in the Bronx.
Oh, okay, yeah. We, at some point, when we circle back to Brooklyn again, we'll be doing a Greenwood.
Greenwood.
Yeah, like where we walk 20 miles of the route and then just spend 5 miles a day in Greenwood walking around the hills and whatnot. So,
Every time I go there, I come back smelling like DT. Is that what they call the
spray?
The insecticide?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
seem to get there the day they do that.
Huh.
Oh.
They're pretty aggressive about it too, because the theory about West Nile virus from, I don't know when that was, 15 years ago,
Right.
Yeah.
was that it originated in cemeteries.
Oh, really?
They incubated in all the standing water.
Oh,
I've
I didn't
noticed a
realize
lot of
that.
signs that are like from October or from April to October, no vases allowed.
Yeah,
Oh.
and it's because they don't want the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's a strange marker in this section, if we can find it. One of my favorites. It's a small statue of a person rising up.
Okay. On top of the stone?
Well, we'll see if we can find it. There it is.
Oh,
You see it?
I think I see which one you're talking about.
It's very low to the ground.
Yeah. Wow.
It's like, get me out of
Oh,
here.
wow.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
But yeah, that looks a little less like rising up and more like, please don't put me in here.
I'm sinking.
Wow.
I think it is half sunk into the ground, too.
Oh, it must be, yeah. Oh, and there's a picture too.
That's right. Italian, if I remember right.
Vincenzo.
Oh, it's somebody grieving him, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wow.
wow.
that's one of my favorite markers out here.
That is. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I tried to look this guy up. I didn't find anything.
Really?
Vincenzo.
It looks pretty old.
Yeah.
Right?
What is your process for looking up people? You just straight Google and like see what happens, or specific web, like through Calvary website or something, or
Calvary website doesn't have anything.
yeah.
No, I usually start with something like Ancestry.com,
Mm.
FamilySearch.org, the genealogy sites
Oh, okay.
is what I start with. Because Google is, there's all these alternate spellings of people's names that Google doesn't
Right.
know about. And they're only going to they're only going to come up with the celebrities.
Right.
But yeah, never found anything on that guy.
Wow.
It's crazy.
He doesn't want to be found.
Yeah.
I love how different every stone is. I've been noticing some of the cemeteries we've gone to this week are really, I guess, homogenous, for lack of a better word right now, but you know, where all the stones are pretty much like the same height and made out of the same thing. And
Yeah, New Calvary is like that.
New Calvary is more like that,
Like,
yeah.
especially Fourth,
Yeah.
because now they require you to get a tombstone.
Oh, really?
Because you see all these empty, unmarked graves.
Or
around
some
here.
that just have a marker or...
Right. I mean, all this empty space is unmarked graves.
Oh, okay.
But
wow.
if you get to Mount Zion, where they've always required
Oh,
tombstones, it's
It's
like
so packed.
wall to
Mount
wall.
Zion.
Oh my gosh, it's the most
Yeah.
crowded
So
cemetery I've
crazy.
ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful though.
Yeah, it
really
is. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
it really is. With the smokestacks there too.
Yeah.
There's something about like the quiet cemetery right next to the industry and how it's all like packed in there.
Yeah.
There's something cool. I said to Mike the other day, it's like where you should be buried if you loved being in a crowded nightclub or something.
Nice. I've been doing some research that is probably going to send me back out to Mount Zion again.
Yeah?
Have you been to Socrates Sculpture Park?
Yes.
The wall that surrounds it, that surrounds about a third of it, is made of tombstones.
Oh, really?
I hadn't
And-
noticed.
And the story handed down to me by a reliable source is that in the 1980s, St. Michael's Cemetery was just a disaster. It was a cemetery. You wouldn't even know it was a cemetery. It was so overgrown. So enter new management, and they they mow the lawn. You know, they
Right.
start taking care of the place. Then their first order of business is to knock over a whole bunch of tombstones. And they were within their right to do it because they claimed none of these survivors had been making perpetual care payments for generations.
Oh, wow.
So they knocked over the stones, threw 6 feet of dirt on top of the old burials, and planned to start selling new burials on top of the old ones.
Wow.
And then they took the stones, put them in a truck, and hauled them off to an illegal dumping ground that is now Socrates Sculpture Park.
Oh my gosh.
So when they broke ground on the park, they found this massive tombstones, and they built the wall out of them.
Wow.
And then there was word got out about the 6 feet of dirt thing, and community boards swooped in, and there was all this outrage, and they were never allowed to sell new burials on top of those old ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you go out to St. Michael's today, there is this conspicuously empty hill, sort of near the St. Joseph Mausoleum.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's really it, because I've been studying the markers at Socrates, and when you talked about style of stone, this is what made me think of it.
Yeah.
The style of what's at Socrates doesn't look anything like what you'd find at St. Michael's.
Oh, interesting.
Style, not even more importantly though, is the verbiage. Like it says lot, and St. Michael's doesn't have lots; it has plots.
Oh, interesting.
And then also the numbering on the stones. St. Michael's would never number a grave with like a 4-digit number. You know, they do section, row, grave number or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So where did they come from? I mean, these are clearly from some cemetery, but and my money's on Mount Zion, but I don't know.
But you
Right.
don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
Interesting.
So you're
gonna go out there
compare
again
them.
and see if they.
Sometime soon, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been to St. Mike's a few times, enough to know that these stones almost certainly did not come from there.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's been the story handed down to me.
Is St. Michael's a Catholic cemetery?
It's non-denominational.
It's non-denominational?
Yeah.
Because Mount Zion seems like a Jewish cemetery.
Oh, it's totally
Yeah.
Jewish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And are the markers at Socrates Jewish
There's
markers?
only one full name,
Oh, okay.
and it's not helpful. It's a very common name.
Okay.
Most of what you see are these square letters, which we should see some around at some point today. But just a square block with a letter on it, so the letter B.
Oh, okay.
And these things were placeholders
Oh, okay.
that would be, when there was a fresh burial on a new site, the tombstone virtually never gets placed on the day of the funeral.
Right.
So they would put the letter B next to the burial as just a placeholder to remind them exactly where to put the real stone.
Okay, I see.
So that's most of what you see at Socrates, is those type of stones. But there is the word lot, and then there's one full name, and then there's a half of somebody's name.
Okay.
And it's interesting.
Oh, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I hope to hear what you find whenever it happens.
If I ever can.
As long as it takes.
I mean, if I can't figure out what cemetery, my goal in this is to actually figure out whose stones were knocked down.
Yeah.
And build some kind of, monument in their memory.
Sure.
Because it's not, why should some people's memory get wiped out and others not?
Especially with this, I get it, the perpetual care thing, I get it, like legally, but I really don't get it.
Yeah.
As a human, like, there's still someone under there and they're dead. How are they supposed to pay for it? They're dead. Like,
well,
I guess obviously the family's supposed to pay for it, but
yeah, they started getting
seems
aggressive
like a lot.
about. They got pretty aggressive about that, but that's the business of the cemetery
Yeah.
business. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what it is.
right.
Shall we walk along somewhere else?
Yeah, let's.
Lead the way. Yeah. Yeah, we noticed, I think maybe it was Union Field. Again, there is this clump of cemeteries out, Cemetery Bethel and Union Field and Mount Nebo, that are these beautiful, very sylvan cemeteries. And just in one corner, we saw a bunch of gravestones that were topped over. This one here.
She's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
You saw a bunch of gravestones out there?
Yeah, and
it was
I guess
like-
we, just don't spend a lot of time thinking about how I just assume that all of these are sacred objects, where it's like
Right.
you do everything in your power to keep them in that spot to signify where somebody is, not just throw a bunch of them in a pile whenever they've exceeded their usefulness, I guess,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was maybe like 20 or 25 gravestones just kind of all like in a pile behind some trees,
Oh wow.
the back of the cemetery.
I wonder what that's about.
It
But
was
I
strange
also
to
understand,
see.
I mean, maybe I wouldn't go so far as to say it's a business. I mean, it is a business, but just also like when you're here maintaining things and things just end up outliving people's knowledge of them, usefulness. I don't know, it just, things decay, even gravestones.
Well, and there's some, we live really close to Thedratty Cemetery, which is right next to the Evergreen Cemetery. It's a really small one. And that cemetery is pretty old and had the church that ran it originally had like an egalitarian, non-hierarchical system for when people died. So there was everyone got basically like a cheap gravestone. So it's wood or I think copper or like very flimsy material.
Right.
So, and since it's so old, I think it's so beautiful. But a lot of the gravestones are falling apart. Like they're either crushed or
Right.
they're rotting or they've fallen
just
over.
Turned to dirt at some point.
Yeah, which I think is a beautiful idea too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's cool that they're like hollow. And that was just a part of the congregation's ethics, where you don't have highly ornamented markers. Everybody is equal,
Right.
Yeah.
It is jarring. I mean, one of my favorite characters from the cemetery is the Thedratty family, and they owned a foundry, and they built a lot of the tombstones out here. Not as many as some others, but they specialized in marble monuments, and marble's very expensive.
right.
So they made good money off of the wealthy who bought fancy marble monuments thinking they'd, stand out.
Right.
Right.
But over time, marble doesn't handle the elements very well.
No.
And so all these expensive monuments look like, I don't know what you call it, melted candles or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's some of them over there, but there's also what's called a zinker, which was sort of made fun of when it was first developed. It was called the poor man's mausoleum,
Okay.
made out of zinc.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that shit's immortal.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So these poor people, their memory lives on, while the wealthy with their marble monuments are fading away.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, you know, this is where a scene from John Wick was filmed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I found the exact spot. I forget exactly where right now.
The first John Wick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
There's been Calvary doesn't show up in movies that much, but I was like, a really freaky thing. Maybe you'll think this is weird, but somebody sent me an email asking something about Calvary, and I sent a reply. And the second I hit the reply, I look up at the TV, and there's Ray Liotta standing at Calvary Cemetery. And he was only on the screen for 1 second.
Oh my gosh.
And how did that happen?
Right. That's crazy.
Wow.
Now, you were mentioning before we hit record, that you were tasked with finding the famous Don Corleone burial scene within
Right.
Calvary, yeah?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was a bit of an adventure. It wasn't quite as easy as I thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
because things change on the yard. But the most interesting aspect of it was that there's one marker in particular that shows up in the film that was the main clue, the daily marker. But when I found it, the top of it had been turned around.
Oh wow.
Oh,
And I thought, well, maybe this isn't it. But it had to be. And I looked closely and I saw that the top had separated and that somebody had knocked it off.
Oh.
And that when they put it back on, they just put it on backwards.
Oh my gosh.
But,
Wow.
and surprisingly, that there had not been nobody had done the work beforehand.
no, not
Which-
that I could find.
Yeah, that is really surprising.
Yeah, I took it to one of those discussion groups.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And they were like, man, just when you thought we had
Solved it
Found
all.
it.
every angle of this film.
Do you know anything about this
The
chapel?
Calvary Chapel, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
It's locked now.
Yeah, yeah.
It was considered a notable structure for reasons I don't recall, but the Beehive design
Yeah.
is often referred to.
Yeah, you know, it reminds me almost like a minaret.
Yeah.
Mm.
Inside it's a dump.
Yeah, oh, really?
I'm sorry, but it's a
Yeah,
dump.
yeah.
It's said to be a high-ranking, like archbishop or deacon or something from the early 20th century interred in a vault down there.
Oh really?
Really?
And you can see the door of the vault, but
Oh wow.
can't open it. I mean, it is a dump, but that's
It's
kind
just
of
not.
that's
Is it
kind of
just
why I
not
like
really
it.
taken care of inside?
The
or-
roof leaks anytime it rains.
Oh.
There's puddles all over the
Oh,
place. The paint needs. It's in bad shape.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's not a disaster, but it's kind of what I like about it is that
Right,
Yeah.
right.
is that it's a dump. It does look nice on the outside, though.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
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 I was trying to peek in there and through the windows the other day. You can't see much if you just peek in.
Nah, probably not.
Yeah, and the clay, I mean, I don't know if that's terracotta or meant to look like it or what the tile roofing.
the roof?
But yeah, it's a very interesting style given that we're
Yeah.
in New York City.
Yeah.
A couple of different things going on.
Yeah, not all the cemeteries around here have chapels,
Yeah.
but they do a weekly field mass service in there,
Hmm.
or at least they used to.
Yeah.
Actually, this section will have some of those marble markers I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
There's only like I can only remember one of the zinkers, and I don't remember where it is now.
Yeah.
But they're kind of hilarious. The letters are all extruded, and it looks kind of tacky, but
Yeah.
but it's a genealogist's best friend.
Yeah.
I love all the. I don't know what they're called even. The little houses.
Mausoleums.
Are they mausoleums?
Houses. Mausoleums, mausolea.
Yeah.
The stained glass in some of those is beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah, I noticed some when I was in New Calvary yesterday. 'Cause, pretty much every day this week we've been over there at sunset, and so they've been really pretty brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's sort of a shame that they're so hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff's pretty intense.
Wow. Well, we've reached the monument area, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this character of this is very different.
Yeah.
And a lot of the mausoleums are locked up or boarded over.
Yeah.
Mm.
Actually, one of the first times I came out here, I was over by the fortune cookie factory,
Right.
Uh-huh.
and I noticed that one of the mausoleums, the doors were open.
Oh.
And I thought, I was smelling the smell of death or something. I didn't know what the
Oh,
smell
because you were
was.
smelling the
I was
fortune
smelling the
cookie.
fortune cookies. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, this is horrible.
This is it. This is it.
I'm out of here.
A little sweet, a little
Yeah.
like a cookie. Oh, that's funny.
We were in All Faith Cemetery earlier today, which was both endearingly and disappointingly overrun, like overgrown, you know?
Yeah.
And go on.
when you walk in, it says,
There's like one of those historical landmark-esque signs, like the blue and orange, like George Washington slept here type signs. But it said like, this is a very well-maintained facility, in quotes, and then like the Department of Cemeteries.
Oh, I remember that sign.
Yeah.
I remember
And
that
I was like,
sign.
what?
And we were
And then we went
noticed
around.
it.
It was
We were like, oh, that's nice. It must be a great and then we walked in and we were like, immediately, we were like, this is not well maintained at all.
yeah. But the reason I brought it up because you were talking about death. There was a there was a statue with what appeared to be the Grim Reaper, but like an angelic version of the Grim Reaper. Like it had a feather, like it was a man with a scythe and like an angelic feathers, and I was like, I've never seen that at a
That's a real tombstone?
He
It
was
was-
creeping up behind a woman too. It was
Yeah.
more than just him.
But I might
But it
not have
looked
been a
beautiful.
tombstone. It may have been like
A Halloween thing.
It was on
no,
top
no.
of
It was
a
definitely
monument.
it was more like it was like an organization's memorial.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was very strange
Yeah.
though. I'd never seen such a thing, and also I've never seen the Grim Reaper depicted in a way that was somewhat charitable. You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that mausoleum is all cemented up.
Oh wow, yeah.
Somebody must have vandalized it.
Oh.
Yeah.
There was one time I came in, I heard activity going on inside one of the mausoleums.
Oh,
I
really?
was like, are they rising from the dead?
Oh, that's a little freaky.
But
Yeah, I guess. I mean, animals probably get in there.
no, it was somebody.
Oh, it was someone just
Yeah.
visiting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when we were talking earlier about the idea of how cemeteries have changed in terms of what their functions are, do you have any conception of if mausoleums were like places where you'd go sit as well and like hang out, or have they always been just like an extra special place for a person's remains?
I don't think these types are ones that you would hang out in, but
Yeah.
the big Johnston Mausoleum
Oh yeah.
was actually a dual-purpose chapel, and they would conduct services in there
Oh wow.
and just hang out.
Yeah, we
Wow.
passed that earlier this
I
week.
think they're renovating it right now, right?
Are they?
They were, yeah. There were some
think
people
that's
outside
what
on
we
the
passed.
facade doing
Oh, I
some
want
type
to
of
see
work.
that.
Yeah.
We
should
could
walk
go
that
down
way.
there.
I've read a lot about that mausoleum. It was owned by the Johnston brothers, who were very successful dry goods salesmen.
Oh, we were speculating. It's
Interesting.
so big. I was like, was it like Andrew Johnson,
Yeah.
the impeached president, or
No, but there are some interesting Tammany Hall characters in that valley of the mausoleums,
Oh,
they used
interesting.
to
really?
call it.
Yeah.
But no, Johnston, they just made a lot of money on,
Right.
and
got to spend it somehow,
but one of the brothers was kind of the black sheep, and he inherited the business after the other ones died, and under his watch they just lost everything.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
He died insane and crazy, as I think the New York Times said.
As they
Jeez.
say.
But he
Oh, wow.
but he's in the same mausoleum
As his brothers.
as the brothers. So prince and pauper alike.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's part of when I'm in these crowded but open areas. I remember one time I had a cemetery photography job, and it was getting late, and so I was running through the section trying to get to the location,
Yeah.
and I came this close to falling into an open.
Oh my God.
They had just dug it. I could tell that this thing had just been set up,
Oh my gosh.
and they're supposed to put a big piece of plywood over it, but
Right.
Right. Yeah.
for whatever reason they didn't. I guess the funeral was probably
Happening.
like they were about to arrive,
Oh my gosh.
God.
and that would have been a hell of a discovery.
That would
Yeah.
that would have probably been pretty upsetting for everyone.
Well, or a hell of a 911 call from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't believe where I am.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have a 360 camera that I use each week when I document whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
And I was in Mount Zion yesterday, and there was an open grave. Somebody had just left it there. And I thought to myself, wow, that would be a really great photo. And then I was immediately like, I'm pretty sure that's where I go to hell if I'm taking 360 photos from inside a grave.
Inside
Yeah.
an open
It's
grave.
not, it's really not, it's poor form.
They just start throwing the dirt on you.
Yeah, exactly. So you already described that one instance where you had that weird kismet situation with that woman's son. Have there been any instances when you've been in the graveyard, since you're in it so much, where it's been like kind of an eerie, ghostly type thing, or is it you ever gotten energy like that when you've been in here?
I don't, not quite, but I have seen some pretty shisty looking people.
Okay.
Like dudes like speeding through the cemetery, and they just don't look like they had any business being there.
Yeah.
And there have been moments like that where I felt like there could be danger.
Yeah.
But the spiritual thing, I don't know.
You're just not
Maybe
a
I'm just-
believer in that, so you're
Yeah.
immune.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, have we seen any weird behavior since we've been? I could definitely see that being a thing in the cemeteries, because
I can't really think of anything. I think we saw some teenagers driving in, looking like maybe they were looking for a spot to smoke some weed or do what teens do.
Yeah.
But I don't think other than that I've really noticed. I mean, it's only been a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about that, about weird behavior. And I've seen like groups of people dancing over on that end, doing some kind of death ritual or something.
Whoa.
Wow.
Or goth type stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever that entails.
Wow.
I wouldn't call it weird, but we did, the day after we met with Joe Devlin at Houdini's grave, we did see a woman come in to the gravesite, and I looked to be praying to him or otherwise.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
true.
Weird, that grave is notorious for attracting weirdos.
Yeah.
I was by there once, and police were like questioning somebody. I don't know what about.
Yeah.
But I asked him, what's the deal? And he's like, just another Houdini nut.
Oh gosh.
Well, it's right there near the road too. It's really
It's
easy
right
to
there.
access.
Wow, look at that scaffolding.
Yeah. There it is, the
I'm glad
Johnston.
you told me about this. By the way, this is the route of the funeral scene from The Godfather.
Oh,
This is
okay,
right
there
here?
you go.
very
Wow. We're on it.
But you were saying that the actual grave site is at it's in New Calvary, right? So there's
No, it's
multiple
over here.
locations. Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can show it to you.
Oh, yeah, that'd be wonderful.
We took your tip and we added the Kosciuszko Bridge to our route this week.
Oh, okay.
So we've seen it from over top.
Oh, you did it
now.
already.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful, isn't it?
It's so beautiful. Yeah, thank you for suggesting that.
Sure.
Yeah, I've only driven over it, when it was the old version of it. So to walk over it now it was really special.
Yeah, you can just stop and take it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd seen it too from buses or whatever, but for, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why they're doing this. This is really, they've already painted over it. Why are they doing this, and who's paying for it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big one. Who's paying for it?
Right.
Maybe they're going to tear it down. I'm going to have to look this up. Because I've written a lot about this thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it has 8 spots, 8 coffins, and a chapel in the basement, and a game room, and a...
That's right. Sunday bar,
Right. All the stuff you need when you're dead.
Even with the scaffolding, it's impressive.
They've painted over it. It didn't look like this last time I was here.
Oh, really?
I mean, even without the scaffolding.
Yeah.
Why? Why would they do this? I think I'll give them a call. Later. Huh. Well, thanks for that discovery.
Yeah.
This one might have passed me by.
So show us where the Godfather section is. If it is.
Yeah, this is where the procession
Yeah.
continued. And if you ever watch the film, not a lot has changed really, but enough little things changed to make this harder to find than I expected.
Yeah.
As I explained, the daily marker was flipped backwards.
Right.
Yeah, this is the Valley of the Mausoleums, as it's called on some of the older maps.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really something. That's like, to me, that's like they're tearing my house down.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like they're bringing it down, but it is a really compelling point. How does one pay for something like that if there's nobody,
Yeah, there's no more
around.
Johnston money left.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe they're going to turn it into a church or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
Or,
I mean, it's such a beautiful structure.
yeah,
It probably adds to the interest in the cemetery, or I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
I
right,
guess I
maybe
don't
they'll
know
make
how
it
that works, like
let's go this
for
way.
tourists or.
This marker, this tall one, was one major clue
Okay.
Oh, okay.
in where to find this. But this was the Dealmaker.
This was the one that was turned around. Oh, you can see.
You can
that
see where
it's
it's been
busted.
separated, yeah. So the people, most of the observers stood here,
Okay.
and you could see this marker
Oh, you
behind
can see
them.
it behind them.
And you could see the old Kosciuszko.
Oh, wow.
So it's right about here.
Wow.
Wow.
Maybe someday somebody will come out and put up a plastic marker or something,
Right.
just as a joke.
So I guess, there's
Well, it's-
trees there now, so you can't see
right.
the bridge.
Yeah, a lot's changed.
Right.
But yeah, that's the spot.
Could you see the mausoleum in the
No,
film?
no.
No, it was like on this angle.
Yeah, you did see it briefly as the procession came in, though.
Okay.
So it made a very brief appearance.
Yeah.
So I guess for all you
It's
Godfather
interesting that it's
enthusiasts,
so
Right.
open.
be maybe a little disappointed it doesn't look quite like you.
Well, and they had a fake marker in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's
they did?
another problem I had with the film. is
Right.
The tombstone is never there the day of the funeral.
Oh, right.
But I warn people on my write-up of this, don't come out expecting to find
Right.
anything that looks like this. They didn't repurpose someone else's tombstone or anything.
Yeah.
There's just
Right.
nothing there. So
I wonder if that's why they chose this particular spot too, because it is empty.
yeah,
and
Probably.
Open.
Yeah.
It must
probably
be.
has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Plenty of room for their gear. I'm not seeing any geese. There's usually geese all over the place out
Really?
here.
Maybe they've flown away for the winter.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. This one time, this monster snowstorm rolled through. Really lived up to the hype.
Uh-huh.
It was like horizontal snow blast for 24 hours straight.
Oh my gosh.
Next day, all the streets were plowed, everything was plowed, and I came out here, as I was wont to do in those days. And I go up to section 4, which I think is the highest point, and that's where the Soldiers Monument is, which is one of my favorite things out here. I went up there, and I'm just standing there looking around, and then I start to try to start walking back, and I realize I'm standing in a sea of shit. And it was fresh, it was wet, it was sticky, it smelled, it's
Oh no.
all that stuff shit is. And I'm just asking, why? How did this get here? And I have this notion of like a nihilist network of people that don't like sewage systems, so they haul their trucks of shit out to the cemetery as some symbolic gesture of regrowth. And so anyway, after the revulsion wore off and I got my I figured it had to be the geese, because there's hundreds, even thousands of them, and during the storm they must have all huddled together
Oh,
for
interesting.
24 hours, and they were just pooping the whole time.
Oh man.
Oh my
This-
gosh, and you found it.
You found
I
the
found the
secret
sea
trove.
of shit, yeah.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
That's amazing.
Which way is the Soldiers Monument? Do you want to go over there?
Sure.
Hopefully it'll be a little cleaner this time.
Yeah.
Somebody left a,
Oh yeah, Little Rock.
I wonder if
Oh,
that's a Godfather
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
shout out.
yeah.
We noticed we were particularly, we were it's not, is it Cypress Hills? I'm not sure which cemetery it was. The one where Jackie Robinson is.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Cypress Hills.
It's Cypress Hills, yeah. We noticed that they're, particularly in the area that is in the Asian cemetery, I don't know if it's Chinese exclusively or just
It is
Asian in
Chinese.
general. There are, stones left in some sort of memorial, and many of them are cemented to the tombstone itself, which is something that I guess I had never noticed previously, but it seems like there must be some extra special reason for the rocks rather than just a, we remember, to have to make sure it never leaves.
Yeah, it didn't look so great.
Yeah,
To be
that doesn't
honest,
sound.
it was like
No.
because it's like a dark tombstone normally, and then the cement is cement color, and it bled, and then it's like a pool. It didn't.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very attractive. But
No, but I guess like Mike said, if there's some sort of reason for it, I guess it's worth it.
Have you seen the Soldiers Monument?
I'm not sure. We may have, as we said, we were by here earlier this week and we passed it. So we may have seen the Soldiers Monument without realizing it was the Soldiers Monument.
Yeah.
I think you'd remember.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually in contact with his descendants.
Really?
Johnston.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they contacted me about a year ago. That's when I discovered that this place got raided in the 1950s. Some thieves broke in. I don't know what they were expecting to find.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Was there anything of value in there?
There shouldn't have been, but the
Right.
police speculated it was a long-term family grudge that
Huh.
that was their only guess as to the motive.
Yeah.
I mean, Frank Costello's mausoleum got raided
Really?
in, I don't know, 70s or 80s, whenever.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But they were after his $3,000 suit that he was said to have been buried in.
Wow.
So they had a motive.
How crazy do you have to be? I feel like there are a lot of
To
better
get
places to
that
steal a
suit.
$3,000 suit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was in great shape.
Yeah,
It had
exactly.
been
Right.
clothing with a
Right.
dead body for however many years.
Yeah, there's no way you're ever gonna no dry cleaner is gonna be able to fix that up for you.
This is where they park all the lawnmowers and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's also the Soldiers Monument formerly had some brass eagles on its corners,
Oh wow.
and some of them got stolen, and they just said to hell with it. We don't want the others to get stolen, so those are in there too.
Oh, interesting.
They're in here.
Yeah. The portalette is new.
Yeah.
Nice touch. Yeah, see, there's that sound of the highway.
Yeah, we'll see where. Every week is a new adventure with seeing how much audio is impacted by
Right.
the surrounding ambience. Sometimes something like that you hear with your ear turns out to be not a problem at all, and then other times you'll hear what's a slight hum, and then on the audio it sounds like a blimp was flying into you or something. So.
There is an interesting effect, but it's very, very subtle. If you sit on one of the staircases back there where we just were,
Yeah.
staircase between the mausoleums, the sounds of the Kosciuszko echo off the tombstones of the hillside in front of you.
Oh,
Oh.
wow.
And I've been sitting there times when all of a sudden John Sterling's voice, Yankees announcer, just clear,
my
clear
gosh.
as day.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
blasting out of somebody's car radio all the way
Wow.
up on the bridge.
That's so cool.
It's very subtle though, and I've introduced it to a few people and they don't hear it.
Yeah.
The Yankees win.
I love this view.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
The rolling hill into
Yeah.
the new skyscrapers. That's a favorite view.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the views that are at these cemeteries are just stunning. It's hard even for the camera to do them justice. The enormity is kind of lost in a captured image.
It was pretty awesome watching this bridge go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, slow, and then when I came out here once, the old one had been partly demolished, and it was so colossal that it took me several seconds to realize what I was looking at.
Right.
Yeah.
This bridge had been like this, and now it was all like that. It's such a huge. I wish I could have seen it in action.
I remember.
But it's like a slow motion demolition.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I remember whenever they were going to demolish it, it was like there was a Facebook event,
Yeah.
and all my friends
yeah,
were
yeah.
like, "We're gonna, we're gonna go see
But
it." But
then
it's
they
like,
didn't do it at
well, they
the-
didn't do it like everybody
It
thought it
wasn't
was
like
going to
a
be
big
like a
blow
Vegas
up, yeah.
hotel demolition.
Yeah, yeah.
When really it's just like we're just gonna take each part
Yeah,
piece.
they were
you know?
just slowly
Right.
taking it apart. But
Big, big fun.
Yeah.
Do you want to see COVID Corner?
sure,
Sure,
yeah.
let's go.
That's what I called it. But
Yeah.
this is where a big chunk of the COVID burials occurred, and that's where you can see all the fresh flowers.
Yeah.
Right.
I came out here the day Calvary reopened, and again, it was a very sad sight. There must have been 36 people out there
Wow.
paying respects,
Yeah.
all for just needless deaths.
Yeah.
And you can see here where they're getting ready to carve out more
Oh yeah.
more burial sites. I don't know if any of the new ones are going to have markers yet.
Right.
Yeah, this isn't the most beautiful stretch of Calvary, but for a long time I would come out here and get photos of just random stones,
Yeah.
and then I'd transcribe them and post them up on my website
Yeah.
or other websites. Because you just never know what value something ephemeral like that is going to have,
Yeah.
or who's going to find it useful.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
And I've heard from people that were like, "Wow, I did not expect to find my grandmother's tombstone just from a Google search."
Yeah, that must be a very gratifying sensation to know that you're helping somebody that's,
Looking to make connections.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Wow, look at all this. Some of these were 5, 6 deep.
Wow.
Yeah, April 23.
Yeah.
That's right in the. It's right when it was at full tilt.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there you go. The guys are paying respects over there.
Oh, look at that. Oh, those are workers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are.
Oh, wow. Are they... Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't be looking at this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I saw them stacking the bodies in the refrigerated morgue truck
Yeah.
outside of Elmhurst Hospital.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't take a picture of that.
We live near a funeral home, and I walk by it almost every day. And yeah, I was seeing there was a big truck outside, and I was seeing a lot of way more activity than normal.
Right.
Yeah, there were just people in there every day grieving.
Yeah.
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 I mean, this cemetery doesn't usually do more than 1 or 2 burials a day.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were out here doing dozens.
And as you were saying, I mean, the plot values, typically would preclude probably mass burials like that, but it's just such a tragic situation. I don't know if the city can force them to take bodies or how that works, but
I don't either.
in times of mass tragedy, maybe something kicks in.
Yeah.
This is all goose poop, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh.
To change the subject.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It looks like this after a while, but when it's
Yeah.
fresh, it looks human.
So which way is the
I'm gonna get back to
the soldiers? Yeah.
you see that tall, well, there's a few tall things there.
Yeah, right. So generally that way.
We're going back to the street and then to the
Okay,
left.
cool.
Or we could cut across this field.
Sure.
Let's go back to the street
Back
just
to the street?
in the event that the audio is in fact a nightmare.
Oh,
maybe save a little bit.
right, as we, yeah.
I think wind noise
Yeah.
is the sound of Satan.
Yeah.
Satan's voice.
Well, that's why we just wear the dead cats anytime. It doesn't matter. You know, I'd rather look silly than kind of bury my head in my keyboard later. So we perused your website a little bit, and you've done a number of audio projects yourself. Can you tell, particularly the one with the telephone booth?
You mean the payphone radio?
Yeah.
There you
Cool,
go.
thank you.
Whoops.
I got it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the radio stream.
nice.
And it's
Payphone
all
radio, yeah.
phone calls that I made almost entirely from payphones. And I've been doing that since 2010.
Okay.
And it's like a semi-confessional voice blog where I just talk about what interesting things happened that day. But it's the sound quality of the payphone that makes it
Right.
what it is. And then there's the ambient sounds.
Yeah.
I recorded a lot of music in the subway system when there were buskers performing nearby. And that's basically it. I mean, it's not going to be a popular thing, but it does get a cadre of listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My career path after college was supposed to be radio,
Oh, okay.
really?
and I'm glad it wasn't, because
Right.
the commercial business of radio would have just chewed me up and spit me out back
Yeah.
then
Oh,
in 1990.
right.
But I have kept active in other radio forms since then, and the internet makes it so easy. So I have another stream of me playing piano.
Yeah.
I studied at a conservatory,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
so I had a concert career for a little while, long enough to know I didn't want to be a traveling concert pianist.
Yeah.
Right.
Just racks my nerves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do a bunch of radio stuff.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up the aesthetic of the payphone sound, maybe not funny, but it interests me insofar as I also I like things that don't necessarily sound pristine. I'm complaining about the sound of but that's
Yeah.
just it becomes distracting and unavoidable. Whereas, taking existing songs, slowing them down, dirtying them up, things like that really appeals to me. It's the type of thing I do.
I get it.
And the payphone is definitely one of those things that's an aesthetic, a sonic aesthetic that's going to be completely gone in 30, 40 years,
Well, not even that long.
Yeah.
That.
30, 40 days.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, is there, are you still doing the payphone?
Well, I called it
Radio?
off with the pandemic and everything.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I
Didn't
guess
really
you
seem
don't
like
want to,
the-
yeah.
About as likely a conduit as
Yeah,
Right.
anything, but
Where was the last payphone that you used? Is there one around where you're
there's none
here,
around,
where
none
you
around
live,
here.
or-
They're all gone from here. The one at Grand Central was the best one, and the best one left is actually Rockefeller Center. We're going up here.
Interesting. There's one in St. John's Cemetery. I don't know if it works. I didn't pick it up, but I did see there was one there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
St. John or St. Mary?
St. John.
What, inside the grounds?
Yep.
Huh.
Just right inside. It was kind of strange.
I'll have to look for that.
Was it near the office there?
Yeah,
Oh,
right at the
interesting.
entrance of Metropolitan and whatever.
I probably know
Wow.
the guy who owns that one.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we didn't come up here the other day.
You can see where a lot of stuff's been stolen.
Hmm. Yeah, no, we did not see this when we were here last time.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things out here.
That's amazing.
Calvary Park with inside.
It's the only city park space within a cemetery
Really?
Wow.
in New York.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a city park, but Calvary maintains it, though.
Right.
Parks doesn't come out here and do that.
But it is technically, that's amazing, yeah.
Built by the Thedratty brothers. And this is among the first Civil War memorials built after the end of the war. I guess it's not the first one, but it's certainly among the first. There's like hundreds of them now. 4 life-size models representing the 4 branches of the military.
Wow. Were they all made out of the same thing? Because this one is so much,
Well,
is it just refurbished or
Well-
was it stolen? Is that what you were?
no.
Okay.
The stuff that was stolen was on the corners.
Oh, I see.
You can see where the
okay,
holes are.
yeah, I see.
Those are like big brass eagles. And some other stuff was stolen from inside.
Wow.
But no, I actually played a part in getting that guy painted.
Oh, really?
But they just ran out of money and nobody wanted to paint the rest of them.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, there was a movement to get this thing renovated and restored and returned to some level of its prior glory. When you make it to Greenwood, you'll see an almost identical version of this that has been taken care of,
Oh, wow.
that has been maintained. It's by the same artists.
Yeah.
So Greenwood was able to get the money together, but Calvary was not.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting to see the refurbished one next to the other 3 statues. It like shows the
Oh,
age,
yeah, that's
I guess, in a way.
Presumably where the eagles
That's
were.
where the eagle was. And this guy was holding a musket. You
Oh
can
my
see there's
gosh.
just a little bit of it left.
Yeah.
The rest of it would have come down here, and that
Wow.
hole is where it would have been braced. The 4 corners of the central obelisk had 4 smaller eagles, or no, cannons, brass
Wow.
cannons. And those
Yeah.
are all
Those were
stolen.
Yeah.
Even one of these plaques got stolen,
Oh my
Jeez.
gosh.
and I
Must
guess
people press scrap
the
it or
scrap
something?
metal's got to be
Grave
worth
robbers,
something.
one of the oldest
Yeah.
professions, I guess.
Wow.
Oh, that's funny. This guy was holding a, maybe, I don't remember what, a musket or something. But somebody put,
Oh, and it just,
some joker put, what is that anyway? Looks like it.
oh, I think I think it was a flag, but it lost the flag because the flags have this pole with
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah, I think that's
Oh,
what
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it had a flag on it. And
You're
it
probably
lost
right,
it.
but it wasn't
But it was-
it wasn't a shower curtain or
No, exactly.
It didn't come with the flag.
a curtain rod.
Right, that is what it looks like.
And he was holding something too. You can see where his hands.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's my favorite one. He has such a sad face.
Yeah.
I love their coats too.
Yeah. But there used to be a chemical plant over here, and all the stuff that flowed out of that thing is why they're in such bad shape.
Oh, wow.
And the statue on top is a piece of work too.
Yeah.
But yeah, see, somebody even got up there and stole.
Even whatever was there.
Stole whatever was
I guess
there.
maybe one of these stars or. Wow, it's so crazy.
But inevitable, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, they stole some of the fencing.
Yeah.
Although some of that might have just fallen apart on its own.
Yeah.
But yeah, they put
Yeah, I guess anything you leave outside in New York is up for grabs.
up for grabs. Yeah.
Somebody's gonna stoop it.
Maybe that's why they glued those rocks to the.
Maybe that's
You know,
why.
they wanted
yeah.
some permanence
That's
with their-
possible.
I mean, if they're going to leave those stones as a sign of respect, maybe they want it to be permanent.
Maybe, yeah.
I was at a, oh boy, 2 down from Cypress Hill Cemetery, maybe. There's a mass grave for soldiers, or not mass, like a military cemetery, with all the white tombstones.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just cool. I was there the day after Election Day, and I was telling Jesse yesterday, like it made me feel a little emotional just thinking about, there are a lot of people that are buried there that fought for this right, and even if they didn't fight in a war that was for that right, they had that in their head that that's what they were fighting for,
Yeah.
Yeah. It just felt good to be there in the context of this particular week.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, there's another interesting
Yeah.
thought to be unique thing. Like, this is the only city park within a cemetery.
Yeah.
This is the only cemetery within a cemetery. I mean,
Oh.
specifically, it's the only Protestant cemetery within a Catholic cemetery.
Oh, interesting.
Weird.
Wow.
Like Mount Zion has the Betts Cemetery within, but That was a Jewish family.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
But this is the Alsop family,
Oh, okay.
and they originally owned this land. So Calvary bought, this, and I don't know how many acres, with the agreement that the family cemetery would never be taken down. So these are probably the oldest markers
Wow.
in the yard. And they've got the colorful illustrations that you probably associate with Boston cemeteries on the other side. Well, some of them do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's,
Huh.
well,
1791.
Wow.
Wow. And these don't even have the.
1777.
yeah, look at that
Oh wow.
illustration.
1753. Is that what that is?
And it
Is
like
it
a
the-
like a
the-
is it like a skull with wings?
I don't know what it is.
Looks like.
Yeah, it almost looks like a Day of the Dead.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
Very cool.
here's another one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is again. Oh gosh.
Well, I think that's a good way to end the recorded portion of our walk around. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us.
fun.
Yeah, it's
Pleasure's
really,
mine.
yeah, it's really great.
All right, so that was our talk and walk with Mark. Hope you liked it. We had a great time. Thanks again to Mark for joining us and telling us about Calvary.
That's right. And if you enjoyed it, please do the liking, the sharing, subscribing. When you do that, then the algorithms that control our lives extend the view to more people, and maybe something will happen.
Yeah, we'd love that. We appreciate everybody that's sharing what we're doing and telling us what they think and doing all the little buttons you can push. Anytime somebody pushes a button, we get pretty excited. So
That's
thanks
right.
for that.
We just love when things happen. So
Yeah.
thanks so much for listening, and until next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye.